So my name is Drew Hogg. I'm with FB Reels. Today I'm going to talk about psychology-informed retention optimization for short-form video recommendation. One of the sort of common challenges, we've heard about it throughout the conference, is that many recommender systems try to optimize for short-term metrics. So this may be clicks, it could be likes, it could be watch time, but this can lead to some unintended consequences. It could give sort of an overabundance of clickbait content, it could give rise to echo chambers, and it can also produce consumer fatigue. So ultimately, we need to have some sort of longer-term optimization. So what we tried to do is do just that. We tried to optimize for user retention, or specifically next day return. The sort of straightforward, naive solution to implement this is to take the sequence of videos in a given session for the user, look at the sort of following day, see if they returned, basically sort of cast that as this positive label. If they did not return, you sort of give that like a negative label. However, it didn't work. The sort of general challenges of taking this naive approach on a short-form video platform is that they are designed to be immersive. So it's unrealistic to assume that users are going to engage equally on every video. And so therefore, it's very hard to establish a relationship from a single video to the overall long-term behavior. Like some users may only view 2 videos in a given session, some may view 200. So there's sort of this like different importance for each video. To kind of understand this, we can look to psychology, and there's this heuristic called the peak end rule. So the peak end rule basically says that people judge an experience largely based on how they felt at its peak and at its end, rather than based on the total sum or average of every moment of the experience. So to make this maybe a little bit more concrete for all of us, many folks have traveled to come to this conference, and we've had a really good 3 days, but we can imagine 2 different scenarios where folks are going to look back on a really positive conference and travel experience, and one where it's been very bad. So a very good conference experience, maybe you had a stimulating discussion where you came up with this great new idea that you're going to run straight home and implement to your work. Maybe you got a first-class upgrade on your flight, which would be very exciting. Maybe you had just an amazing dinner. Whereas a bad experience, maybe you spilt coffee on your shirt right before having to go present your poster. Maybe the airline lost your luggage. The sort of point is that when you think back on your experience, there's a few sort of snapshots, a few highlights that really stand out, where there's this very large range of sort of maybe mediocre, just kind of forgettable experiences, like maybe you're checking your email, maybe you sort of rode the elevator up to your hotel room. We don't actually really want to focus on those moments themselves. So if we cast this and sort of translate this into the short form video experience, next day return, we can hypothesize is going to be driven by very positive peak experiences and in videos. And negative experiences are going to be defined by sort of negative peaks, or these sort of very negative experiences and in videos. And so can we leverage this psychological framework to predict and optimize retention? So the way that we frame the problem is to actually filter out videos where we can gain this signal. Of course, we can't go directly ask users for every experience. That'd be a little bit too much. But what we can do is we can use the explicit signals given on the platform to sort of select out videos that we think are most helpful for the learning task of predicting retention. So in this sort of top sequence of videos where the user did return, we're going to focus on things like share, comment, like. We're actually going to ignore things like hide and the sort of exit. For the negative experience, we actually want to key very closely in on things like hide and the video exit, because clearly the like share and comment maybe didn't define their experience well enough. And so once we frame and sort of cast the problem in this way, we can train a neural net using user features, video features, user video cross features to sort of predict P return for a given candidate in the ranking system. And to actually incorporate this, we sort of build out this scaling where we have a normalized retention that we multiply by this, basically scale the overall scoring function from all of our other tasks to sort of adjust the overall value. And the normalized retention is important for kind of two reasons. One, if we subtract off the average probability of return across all the candidates in a request, then it sort of gives us this sort of positive negative scaling, so we can scale down for the really bad videos, scale up for the very good videos. And also it helps to reduce some of the user bias. So, some users may have a very high likelihood of return anyway. Others may have a very low likelihood of return anyway. So this helps to correct that. And so when we actually put it online, run it in A/B tests on Facebook Reels across millions of users, we see strong overall Facebook session movements, 0.05%. We see 0.4% increase in Facebook sessions with Reels consumption, and we see 0.03% FB Reels DAO. So overall, we are driving retention, and sort of the underlying cause seems to be that we're able to consistently deliver and discover content that is more engaging, that improves the overall long-term user experience. So the kind of takeaways here are the peak end rule is helpful for modeling and optimizing retention on Facebook Reels. There's this sort of broader potential where we can integrate cognitive and affective theories from psychology into the design of longer-term optimization strategies. So I'll take any questions.
Hi, thanks for sharing. I have a quick question. This is in the context of a short video platform, so which means that there's probably less active user actions compared to the regular feed. So my question is that how transferable do you think this framework would apply to other contents on the platform? Thank you.
Yeah, it kind of depends. So one key factor is that there are some folks that are just very passive in their consumption. They may never give a like, they may never give a follow, they may never give a share. This work really didn't show much like user cohort level bias. It sort of generalized well because the sort of learning task focused more on content aspects that were related to the retention. The videos were just filtered on those that were liked and followed. So if we kind of take out that middle step, you're basically just mapping content to retention. And this is sort of focused on short form videos, but we also do have longer form videos on our different surfaces, and it's incorporated there with similar success too.
Thank you. Can I ask a follow-up question? So have you like evaluate this about the trade-offs between the short-term engagements and the long-term rewards? How would you like evaluate or like blending the prioritize the balance between short-term and the long-term reactions?
I don't think there were, again, unfortunately, this isn't directly my work, but my understanding is that there weren't any major trade-offs in engagement. In fact, engagement went up, partially because you're showing kind of higher quality videos. Or what there was a little bit of trade-off with is sort of like consumption and depth, because it does tend to push a little bit longer videos. So your overall sort of video scene may decrease a little bit, but it's a very small fraction.